gentlemen, I am yours truly, the one and only Brother Ricky, and I am happy to be here with all of you on P Stars Radio. The time is now 10:02 a.m., and I am back. All right, I am back. I'm back, man. Um, I just want to start this off at the beginning of the show. For those of you who may not be aware, again, the way that I'm conducting my shows now is they're not going to be my shows are going to be an hour long now. Okay, so for my Saturday shows, they're going to become an hour long, from 10 o'clock to 11 a.m. Before, I would do them from 10:30 to 11 a.m. But excuse me, I just wanted to switch things up a little bit to add a little bit more to my shows, a little bit more input, a little bit more um, information, so on and so forth, to the show, and also for school reasons as well. But yeah, so again, my shows are going to be conducted for an hour now, from 10 o'clock to 11 a.m. All right, so I just wanted to leave that out there for those of you who may not have been aware. All right, so yeah, that's that, and yeah, let's get right into this. So, ladies and gentlemen, the stage is now set. All right, the stage is now set. The NFL Super Bowl is here. All right, the stage is now set for the NFL Super Bowl, and our last two contending teams, our last two finalists, are going to be between the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. All right, the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks are now going to be the two contenders for this year's NFL Super Bowl 60. All right. Listen, I'm hyped. I'm hyped for this. Now, I had my eyes paid attention to with a specific player that's playing for the Patriots, and he is the Patriots quarterback, Drake May. Now, I've spoken about this player before, okay? And this player, I think this is his second season in the NFL. Yeah, I believe it's his second season in the NFL. And this player, who's already in his second season in the NFL, has already, how can I say this, piqued my interest, all right, for lack of better terms. Drake May has piqued my interest, especially with his performance throughout the entirety of the NFL playoffs. This man has precision. This man has accuracy when it comes to his throws, all right? This man is pinpoint. I'm talking pinpoint. And he's very, should I say, poised under pressure, right? Because now you're in the big stage, right? You're on the big stage where we're getting closer and closer, and ultimately he's here now in the NFL Super Bowl, where you have all eyes on you performing at the big stage, where you have a chance at winning the NFL Super Bowl championship, right? This player here has shown a lot of poise, a lot of, how can I say this, calmness while being under pressure, because when I talk about this, I keep thinking back to players like, for those of you who are not aware, with the national championship college football game between the Miami Hurricanes and the Indiana Hoosiers, right? When you see players, because I paid attention to players like Carson Beck, who is the quarterback for the Miami Hurricanes, this man was not able to keep himself poised or to keep himself calm while being under pressure, right? You want to be able to be level-headed, right? You want to be level-headed, but you also want to be calm. You want to know that you are confident in what you're doing, so on and so forth when you're playing on the big stages, right? But players like Carson Beck was very much so not poised and not calm while under pressure. You have another team like the Houston Texans, right? The Houston Texans, that's in the NFL actually. What's his name? He's the quarterback. The quarterback for the Houston Texans, Stroud, C.J. Stroud. This man when it all came down to it, okay, when it all came down to it, this man was not able to deliver, you know, for the Houston Texans to be able to allow them to advance into the Super Bowl. Who was the team that eliminated them again? If I'm not mistaken, I believe who eliminated who eliminated the, I can't remember which team. It had to be between the Patriots or the Broncos. One of the teams. I don't know. But again, while performing under that pressure, right, being in the playoffs, in the NFL playoffs, CJ Star was not able to deliver because you could just see it with a lot of the players how you know tense that they may seem or how out of control they might be while playing in the playoffs because they're so much under pressure where they can't play properly, right? But again, Drake May is one of those guys where while being under pressure, he's able to make the right passes, the necessary passes to his running backs, wide receivers, so on and so forth. So this man, he is doing wonders for the Patriots. All right, Drake May is doing wonders. This man is talented to say the least. All right, and then you have the Seattle Seahawks. This team has been doing phenomenal. Phenomenal, okay? I don't know what it is with their defense. Their defense and their offense seems to be top tier for this season. Top tier. Some people might say differently. Hey, that's you, okay? If you think differently, that's you. But please, all right, feel free. The comment section is open, all right? I'm currently going live on Facebook and YouTube right now. So if any of you have any opinions on the matters that I'm speaking on, please feel free to comment on the comment section of YouTube or my Facebook, where I'm going live on my Facebook page, which is my name, Ricky Dorcelli. Okay, so please feel free to comment what your thoughts and opinions are. But again, the Seattle Seahawks are going crazy. All right, they went 14-3 for the regular season of the NFL, and now again they are officially in the Super Bowl. All right, but their offense and their defense has been going wild, extremely wild, for the season up until the Super Bowl. And you have Darnold, who's been doing his thing. Now, granted, a lot of his decision making, at least up until the point of the playoffs, may be questioning. All right, to some, it may be questioning to some, but whatever he's been doing, it has been working for him and the team to be able to reach the Super Bowl this year. But I'm going to give you a little recap. I'm going to give you a little recap for the recent game between the Patriots and the Bronx, okay? So I spoke about the Bronx and their situation heading up until them recently losing to the Patriots, right? So right after the Bronx has defeated the Buffalo Bills to advance further into the playoffs, they just lost their star quarterback, which was Nix. I think it was Bo Nix, who was their star quarterback for the team, coming into the recent matchup with, again, the Patriots, now having to come in with Stidham, who was their quarterback. That was, I had to keep telling myself, what other options did the Broncos have to replace Nix, right? Because again, he fallen to an injury during the game between them and the Buffalo Bills, between the Denver Broncos and the Buffalo Bills. Right after defeating the Buffalo Bills, Bo Nix has suffered an injury, which warranted him being absent between the games of the Patriots and their respective team, the Denver Broncos. And yeah, man, I just couldn't think of any other solution. If there was a solution for the Denver Broncos as to who they could have who else they could have brought into the roster as their quarterback. I mean, granted, there could have been so many other reasons as to why they have lost against the Patriots, but I personally think that it could have made a big difference. I mean, it could have made a huge difference for the Denver Broncos in terms of them at least posing a challenge for the Patriots, because this recent match between the Patriots and the Broncos, yeah, this was a pretty tight game to say the least, because the resulting score between these two matchups was the Patriots finishing off with 10 points and the Denver Broncos finishing off with only 7, okay? Again, the Patriots 10 and the Broncos 7. So you already know, all right? You already know based off of the scores that there was not a lot of scores happening within all 4 quarters of that match. All right, so for the first quarter of the match, the Patriots couldn't get up anything on the scoreboard, while the Denver Nuggets were only able to put up 7 points. And I believe this came from a touchdown. If I'm not mistaken, yes. This came from a touchdown. 7 points that the Broncos had came from a touchdown from the first quarter, and that came from Cortland Sutton from a 6-yard pass from Jarrett Stidham that was able to get a 7-point touchdown for the Denver Broncos. But after that, it was a complete drought. Okay? It was a complete drought for the Denver Broncos, because from the second quarter and beyond, they couldn't put up anything. They couldn't put up anything on the scoreboard. And then for the Patriots, come the second quarter, they were able to put up 7 points for their team. Okay? And that was during this was during the second quarter of the match. Drake May was able to get a 6-yard rush, right? A 6-yard rush for the Patriots, which warranted in them being able to get a touchdown for their team. And then finally, the third quarter was when the Patriots was able to get a field goal kick. The Patriots got a field goal kick on the third quarter, which was from Andy Borregales. I might be butchering this last name very hard here, so excuse me. But Andy was able to get a 23-yard field goal kick for the Patriots, which allowed them to have 3 additional points to be able to let the Patriots finish off with 10 points again. Patriots 10 and the Broncos 7. And then the fourth quarter, both teams weren't able to put up anything on the scoreboard, which ultimately resulted with the Patriots winning and them advancing into this year's NFL Super Bowl. Okay, so again, this game between the Broncos and the Patriots were very, very tight. All right, not a lot of leeway or room for either teams, because both teams was, I guess, trying their best to keep either side from scoring touchdowns or field goal kicks as much as possible. It just so happens that Patriots were able to do more so of both, while the Broncos were able to only do just 1 touchdown, which came from the first quarter of that matchup. So, yeah, man, what could they do? What could the Broncos do from that point on? After losing, again, Bo Nix, their star quarterback, from their last game, what else could they do besides bring in Stidham to be their substitute quarterback to find a way, at least, I don't know, to, get a win to ultimately advance to the Super Bowl, which was a futile effort because, again, they lost. So that was the recap for the Patriots and the Broncos. And then for the Seahawks and the Rams, these are 2 teams that were top performers, one of the few top performers of the regular season of the NFL. You had the Los Angeles Rams doing very, very well in terms of, if I'm not mistaken, I think was it their defense or their offense? I think they did more so well on their defense, more so than their offense. But again, they were doing a phenomenal job this season. Excuse me, in terms of their, in terms of their their team dynamic and keeping them on the winning side of the games to advance into the playoffs. But ultimately, it wasn't enough. Okay, it just was not enough to help them defeat the Seattle Seahawks. Because in that matchup between the Seattle Seahawks and the Rams, the ending results for that match was Seattle Seahawks with 31 and the Los Angeles Rams with 27. Okay, so for the first quarter between the two teams, the Seattle Seahawks came in with a dominating start with 10 points, while the Los Angeles Rams only came in with 3. And then for the second quarter, we have 10 points for the Rams this time. And then the Seattle Seahawks coming in with 7 points. And then for the third quarter, both teams put in equal effort in terms of scores because both the Rams and the Seahawks finished out with 14. Okay, 14 points for the third quarter. And then for the fourth quarter, neither team could put up anything. Okay, neither team could put up any scores on the scoreboard for the respective teams, which resulted again with the Seattle Seahawks finishing out with 31 points, while the Rams were only able to put up 27 on the board. Sam Darnold was able to have 346 passing yards on his belt, while Stafford was only able to put up 374 passing yards on his belt. We have Walker III, K. Walker III, was able to put in 62 rushing yards, while Corum for the Los Angeles Rams was only able to put up 55 rushing yards. And then we have Smith Jigba. Sorry if I'm butchering that last name, but Smith Jigba was able to put in 153 receiving yards. And then Nakua for the Rams was able to put up 165 receiving yards during that game. Again, a futile attempt on the Rams' end, but the Seahawks were the team that reigned victorious to allow them to not advance into the NFL Super Bowl. Now, like I said before, the Super Bowl is going to now be between the Patriots and the Seahawks. All right? Let me know what your predictions are for this Super Bowl. Because my predictions that I have in mind, I don't know if I want to even give out my predictions even now. Okay, I'll say this. This looks to be like a close game, okay? Between the Seahawks and the Patriots, this looks like it's going to be a close game. Now, I know I say this about a lot of teams. Okay? But I genuinely think that this could be a very close game between the two teams because for the Seattle Seahawks, they do have a top performance. They have a top performance standard in terms of both their offense and their defense, right? They have some really good guys that can do very well in their defense, that can keep from the Patriots effectively making the passes that they need to make to have their first downs to ultimately get a field goal kick or their the touchdowns for the Patriots. What I'm saying is this, right? Although I'm saying it's a very close game, but it might be a very close game between the two teams. I think that the vast majority of the points for the Patriots will be probably coming from their field goal kicks. Because again, I genuinely think the Seahawks defense is very good, and it might be a bit too much for the Patriots to handle. So the most I think that the Patriots can get, for the most part. I'm not saying that they can't get any touchdowns for the game, but the most that they can probably get during the game is probably going to be coming from their field goal kicks. And then for the Seattle Seahawks, I think the majority of their points are going to be coming from their touchdowns. Of course, you could put your field goal kicks in there as well, but mostly coming from their touchdowns. I think that's going to be the case for the Seattle Seahawks. Granted, again, a lot of the differences that you can see from the quarterbacks from the Seattle Seahawks and the Patriots could be night and day because, again, Drake May and his precision throws are sniper level, to say the least, okay? He has sniper level precisions, pinpoint accuracy, get the ball to the right player, to the right receiver, and get as much first downs as possible to get them closer and closer to field goal range, if not touchdowns, okay? So that's a problem that the Seahawks could be facing with the New England Patriots in terms of having to deal with Drake May. And then for the Seattle Seahawks, for the Seattle Seahawks, Darnold, very very well to do with his passes as well. But again, in terms of being able to play under pressure, right? Because I think the last game that they had with the Seahawks had with the Rams, I think I've seen a lot of sacks from the Rams. They were able to get they were able to break through the defense of the Seattle Seahawks somewhat, right, for that game. And I know it's kind of contradicting from me saying that they have a very strong defense, but again, I think it just has to do with, for the most part, Darnold being able to, keep cool under pressure and making the necessary passes, right, or the necessary plays to his either wide receiver, wide receiver or his running back, to be able to get that touchdown. Because again, I think their offense is very great as well, and so who knows? It's only gonna take, them being able to, for the most part, the Seattle Seahawks being able to deal with the Patriots quarterback, which is again Drake May, in order to have a chance at winning this year's Super Bowl. That's what it's looking like, at least for me, in terms of from my standpoint and how I'm looking at it from my end. Again, you guys might think differently on this, all right? You guys might think differently. I definitely want to see or hear your opinions on the matter, on what you think the NFL Super Bowl outcome is going to look like. Because again, all in all, I think this is going to be a very tight game. It's going to be very close and very challenging for both teams. I mean, you expect it to be challenging, right? This is the Super Bowl, all right? We're talking about the Super Bowl here. This is going to be this is a championship match for the winner of either team to win the championship for their respective teams. So you expect this to be challenging coming from both teams. But I'm just saying it's going to be very, very tight and a very, very close game, all right? And the last time these two teams have met in the Super Bowl was, what was it? 2015. 2015. So that's like 11 years ago? 11 years. Has to be. Yeah, maybe like 11 years ago. But it's 2015 was their last meetup, both the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. They both met with each other on Super Bowl 49, which resulted with the Patriots winning that time. The New England Patriots were the teams that defeated the Seattle Seahawks during Super Bowl 49, which was again 2015. The resulting match between the two was the Patriots finishing off with 28 and the Seahawks finishing with 24. A close game, a 4-point difference game between the teams, which again resulted with the Seahawks losing and the Patriots winning. And during that time, Tom Brady was playing He was playing during that time, and he was the one that ended up being the MVP for that match between the Patriots and the Seahawks during that Super Bowl match. A close game during that match, and I expect it to be a very close game for this match. Okay, a very close game for this match. I don't think Drake May definitely wasn't there during that Super Bowl run. I'm I'm trying to figure out if Darnold was playing during that matchup as well. Was Darnold there? I don't know. I don't think I have any way of finding out. But yeah, Drake May definitely wasn't in attendance during that Super Bowl run, but he is now. He is now, and Darnold is in the run as well. So yeah, man, I'm excited for this. I'm excited to see what the outcomes become or what the outcomes look like. My predictions, my predictions are it's gonna be a close game, but I think. Mm, what do I think? I think, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. Hmm. I think it might be the Seahawks that take this one. I think it might be the Seahawks that take this one. Yeah, man. I think the Seahawks might take this year's NFL Super Bowl. Now listen. If you think differently, if you all think differently, then let me know. Let me know why I'm delusional, okay? Let me know why my head or my rockers are just going haywire right now. Because I'm willing to see what you guys are talking about. But I think that the Seahawks are going to take this one. Because again, they I think they figured out how to how to coordinate on both their offense and their defense well, right? I think they figured out how to coordinate very well on both their offense and defense to be able to make it difficult. Make it difficult for the team or the opposite team to be able to um, effectively have effective passes. Talking about to their to the opposite team's running backs or wide receivers, they're able to find a way or to maneuver their defense or their defensive strategy to help them, uh, hold back the opposite team from making the right plays to get a touchdown or a field goal or any field goals. All right, so I might be wrong with this. I might definitely be wrong with this for sure because again, Drake May is nothing short of, again, very talented in terms of being able to make again the necessary plays, the necessary throws, and playing under pressure. That might be a big difference in terms of playing under pressure between him and what's his name again? Him and Darnold. That might be a very stark difference between the two, but overall, in terms of like the entire team, yeah, the Seattle Seahawks looks like they have figured out what they can do again in terms of both their offense and their defense. So we'll just have to wait and see. Okay, we'll have to wait and see what happens. All right, how it all unfolds on the 8th of February. Okay, we are on our last day of the month for January. So before you know it, we will already be at the Super Bowl like this. Okay, like that. So again, the Super Bowl will be happening on the 8th of February. Um, I believe that's Sunday. Yeah, it's Sunday. It's gonna be a Sunday. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But until then, I will keep my predictions the way they are. I think the Seahawks are going to take this at this year's NFL Super Bowl. If the Seahawks uh, if they fail, then yeah, man, Drake May has proven to be a very I mean, even before even before then, Drake May has proven to be a very versatile player and a very talented player as a quarterback for the Patriots. They have a good one on their team. They have a very talented player on their team, and yeah, it won't be long until they take it far with this individual player, and him taking it far with the team themselves. All right, so yeah, that's that for the NFL Super Bowl. Again, let me know, let me know your predictions because, again, I might be way off course here. I might be delusional, delulu, but I'm gonna keep my predictions the same way they are. I'm not gonna double down on this. I think the Seahawks have a very high possibility or a very high chance of defeating the Patriots. Okay, they figured out they figured out their offensive coordination and their defensive coordinations to be able to make it this far, and to being able to um, um, be as 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 fierce as they are. They are able to figure out their defense and their offensive coordination to be able to make it this far into the NFL Super Bowl. For the New England Patriots, Drake May having a quarterback like him, they can definitely they can definitely stand to be a very a very uh, fierce challenge for the Seahawks because Drake May has that pinpoint accuracy in terms of being able to make the right passes and the right throws to his again wide receivers or his running backs to be able to get at least field goal points or touchdowns. All right, so that's what it's looking like so far for my predictions for the NFL Super Bowl. All right, I'm gonna move on to the NBA All Stars. So I believe that they've already come down to a decision as to who they are naming for the Eastern Conference head coach for the NBA All Stars, but they still haven't come to a decision as to who is going to be the head coach for the Western Conference coach for the NBA All Stars. So for the Eastern Conference coach, they have selected J.B. Bickerstaff, who is the head coach of the Detroit Pistons. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he was recently the head coach for the Cavaliers. I think he was the head coach for the Cavaliers. Yeah. So JB, yeah, he's doing something right because last year, unfortunately, being the head coach for the Cavaliers, unfortunately, they were not able to secure um, they were not able to make it all the way into the NBA finals because the Cavaliers had a very they had a break. I think they had a breakout season last year in terms of like their win loss ratio. I think they had a breakout season last year, but again, they couldn't defeat the who did they lose against? Who did they lose against? I think they lost against the Indiana Pacers. They lost against the Indiana Pacers last year, which ultimately resulted in them, you know, being eliminated from the playoffs. But again, throughout the regular season, the Cavaliers were performing at their top best. I think they had 79. What was their record last season? Hold on. Yeah, because I know they had more. Okay, so they went 64-18 last season. Yeah, so the Cavaliers went 64-18, right? And to me, they look like they could have been the top contenders um, in the playoffs going into the NBA Finals. But again, the Indiana Pacers gave them a rude awakening, and they've eliminated them from the playoffs from last season NBA playoffs. But yeah, JB was able to do something to be able to help the team go that far. Ultimately, they ended up losing, but now he's doing the same thing actually right now because the Detroit Pistons, they are surprising me, okay? They are definitely surprising me here, the Detroit Pistons. I don't think they're sitting at the top seed now. I do not think they're sitting at the top seed now, but they definitely were. And they are going ham. Hold on. Yeah, the Detroit Pistons are going ham this season. Um, yeah, so whatever JB's doing, he's doing something. They actually are. Okay, so the Detroit Pistons are sitting at the number one seed right now in the East. Okay, so he's doing something wherever he goes. Wherever JB Bickerstaff goes, he's delivering. Okay, this man is definitely delivering because the Detroit Pistons are currently 35 and 12. Okay, 35 and 12, and I think this is a team effort here. This is definitely a team effort in what they're doing. It's not an individual player, an individual player is doing because naturally I'll probably look at the star player of the team, which for the Detroit Pistons, it's obviously Cade Cunningham, right? But it's not just him because you also have Jalen Duren, who's also doing his thing on that team, right? Who's also doing crazy. And then who else? You have Jalen Duren, Cade Cunningham. Um, I want to say Isaiah Stewart, but eh, eh, yeah, he's doing something. He's doing something, but I'm very cautious in naming him as being a big contributor to the team. But they've received Duncan Robinson, right? They definitely received Duncan Robinson, and Duncan Robinson being a sharpshooter that he is, Duncan Robinson has been, contributing a lot to the team. And so they got a sharpshooter with Duncan Robinson. Asar Thompson. How could I forget this guy? How could I forget Asar Thompson? So Asar Thompson, another player as well. This guy is putting up scores for the team, performing performing phenomenally, to say the least. Asar Thompson. What is he? So 10.7 points per game, 5.9 rebounds per game, 2.7 assists per game, and 51.3% field goal percentage for Asar Thompson. This man is very versatile. Him and his brother. Asar Thompson and Amen Thompson are very, very versatile when it comes to defense. Very crazy at that end. In terms of points, he's doing very well there, but I'm very much so recognizing his defense for the most part. Asar Thompson, his defense is crazy and it's doing wonders. Okay, wonders for the team. You have him, a guy like him, and you have who else? What's his name again? And you have Jalen Duren, right? Because Jalen Duren is protecting the paint like it's nothing, right? And he eats there too. He eats at the paint too. So you got guys like Jalen Duren, Asar Thompson, very very skilled on defense. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. And then of course you have again Cade Cunningham doing his thing, and all the other guys doing their parts as well. But it makes sense. And then again you have their head coach, JB, right? JB doing his thing for the head coaching, his head coaching position for the Detroit Pistons. It makes complete sense why they are the number one seed in the East. Now, with that being said, for him being the head coach for the Eastern Conference, I don't know how much of a difference, that will make for it, because I don't think anybody. me personally, I don't think anybody takes the NBA All Star Game seriously, right? It's not a very exciting thing for me to watch anymore. At least for me personally. I don't know about you guys, but for me personally, it's not very much so exciting to watch anymore. But I mean, you have all your events that are happening for the NBA All Stars, but I really don't even pay attention to those as well. But who knows? Him being the head coach for the East could allow them to, you know, they could allow them to be a winning, a winning position for the East because they have JB, and it may not be that case, right? It may be different. Who knows? But yeah, man, JB he's doing this thing, and I think he's going to be able to be uh, a key piece to helping the Eastern Conference team win the All Star games for the NBA All Stars. And then for the West, again, they haven't decided on who will be the head coach for the West. But yeah, and then again, for those of you who weren't here uh, our last meetup, LeBron isn't a part of the starters anymore. Okay, he's not starting for the NBA NBA All Star starters. He's not. He hasn't been named as a starter for the West. Okay, and again, this is the first time in his career that this has happened. Um, I don't know, man. I really don't know. For the very first couple of games for the season, LeBron was absent, right, during the first few games, and his performance compared to like his recent his recent seasons, his performance now, I guess, isn't catching a lot of fans' attention. It's not catching a lot of fans' attention. So um, I don't know. There could be a whole lot of reasons for why he has not been voted for All Star starter. I don't think that means that he's not going to be. I don't think it means he's not going to be competing in the All Star games. I don't think so. I think he's still going to be competing. He's just not named as a starter for the West. All right, considering that he plays for the Los Angeles Lakers. All right, so who knows? There could be a myriad of reasons for this, but yeah, they're not trying to put him as a starter for the West. That's what it's looking like for the All Stars. And then I do want to get into this to kind of finish with this. Um, trade deadlines. Okay, so for the trade deadlines, there's a couple of names who we can expect to be a part of the trade that's going to be happening on the 5th. Again, the 5th of February for the trade deadline for the NBA. And the names that we can think of for starters are, I'm seeing a lot of talks of Giannis Antetokounmpo. He is a potential player who's going to be a part of the trade packages for this upcoming trade deadline. So he is open to going to a different team. Now, what team that is, I don't know. I'm not sure what team he could possibly go to, or that could be a possible suitor for receiving Giannis Antetokounmpo. But it is catching me. It is making me intrigued, to say the least. I am intrigued because I'm trying to think about what team he could possibly go to. I don't know what team that Giannis Antetokounmpo could go to, but irrespective of that, whatever team that's going to be receiving him is definitely going to be giving up a whole lot. I don't know if he's been having issues in terms of injuries, because I'm seeing a lot of that as well. That he has been having some injury issues, but nonetheless, he is going to be a part of the trade deadline, or yeah, a part of a trade package for the trade deadline for the NBA. Mom, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're the best. But yeah, I can't think of what team he's going to be going to, but whatever the team, they are going to be giving up a lot for Giannis Antetokounmpo, definitely. And then another player who is supposedly expected to be a part of the trade package as well, or the trade deadline, is of course Ja Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies. Yeah, Ja Morant. And again, I think the teams that I brought up before that were in talks of receiving him was again Bucks, the Bucks, the Sacramento Kings, and the Miami Heat. I think there was a fourth team as well. I think there was a fourth team as well that were also in the talks of, potentially receiving Ja Morant. I just can't recall which team that was. But we can expect Ja Morant to also be a part of the trade packages as well for this year's trade deadline. And then also we have Jonathan Kuminga, who is of the Golden State Warriors. And I spoke about this again our last meetup, which again, how can I say this? I'm all for Jonathan Kuminga being traded to a different team because I think, me personally, I think he deserves better. I think Jonathan Kuminga deserves way better than the kind of treatment that he's getting from the Warriors. And this is coming from me. I'm a Warriors fan. For those of you who do not know, okay, I am a Warriors fan, and I genuinely think that Kuminga is a very, very talented player. I think they should have given him more of an opportunity or more chance to be included in the roster as much as possible, included in the lineups as much as possible, because he's proven himself, in my opinion, to be a very talented player, very versatile, very athletic, and he, you got to have a player like him who attacks the rim at a very efficient pace, right? He's very efficient at attacking the rim, very monstrous, and very competitive. That's what I like about Kuminga too. He's very, very, very competitive, and I don't know. The Warriors are. I don't know what they're doing. Whatever they're doing is clearly not in the best interest of Jonathan Kuminga, and so if it takes him having to be traded to a different team to be able to showcase his talents more and his skills more, then I'm all for it. I'm definitely for it, and I think he deserves better, and that he definitely should go out and do that. Definitely find a team who's willing to put your skills to use far more, right? Use your skills way more than keeping you on the bench, all right? Because if I'm him, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be looking to trade to be a part of the trade as well, and to be traded to a team who's willing to let me showcase my skills more, right? To let me showcase my talents as much as possible to the best of my abilities, all right? But yeah, so he's included in the trade package as well. Who else? I think for the Dallas Mavericks, I think there may be talks of Anthony Davis being included in the trade package as well. I might be wrong here, but considering or seeing how much Anthony Davis is injury prone, like he's so easily susceptible to falling to injuries, I understand why the Dallas would trade him, because honestly, this is way too much of a liability here. To this day, we still can't see Kyrie, Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson, and Cooper Flag all play together, right? To this day. And that's something that I've been anticipating, right? I've been waiting to see all these guys playing together. Anthony Davis, Kyrie, Klay, and Cooper Flag, right? I've been anticipating this, but for whatever reason, right? And I get it, right? If you're injured, right, and you're out, what could you possibly do for the team while being injured, right? I get that, but it's far too often, at least for this case with Anthony Davis, it's far too often that he falls to injury after injury after injury every single time. And this is going to pose to be a very big liability for any team, right? And so if they are planning on trading Anthony Davis, I don't know who's going to be willing to take on such liability. I don't know what his conditioning is like. Okay, I don't know what Anthony Davis's conditioning is like in order to be being able to stay in shape and being less prone to falling to injuries, because I understand there's no way you can escape injuries fully, completely, right? You can't escape injuries, but when it's consistent, right? When it's consistently happening every single time, it's like at some point as a in a business mindset, at some point you're going to want to get rid of the liability. And I'm sorry that I'm thinking about it that way or looking at it that way, but that's how it is for a lot of business. It's like if there's nothing that you can do about this liability, you might as well just cut it loose. You might as well cut the liability loose and get rid of it, right? So I don't know. I can't think of what team is going to be willing to look at Anthony Davis's track sheet and think that, you know what, I'm going to receive him and I'm going to trade this, that, and the third for him, or give up future draft picks or first-round draft picks for him. I can't think of a team who's willing to do this. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But he may be in the talks of being traded for this upcoming trade, this trade deadline. And then what other team as well? We already spoke about Ja Morant for the Brooklyn Nets. Oh, yeah, so there may be a potential for the Brooklyn Nets because the Brooklyn Nets they're not doing so well. The Brooklyn Nets are not doing so well for this season. Even after receiving Michael Porter Jr., it's not enough. It definitely is not enough for the Brooklyn Nets. And so there could be a potential for a trade package with Cam Thomas, a star player for the Brooklyn Nets, and Michael Porter Jr., who is another star player for the Brooklyn Nets, but who has just recently been traded to the Brooklyn Nets. There could be potentials for these guys to being traded in the trade package for the trade deadline. And if that's the case, that's going to pose to be an even bigger problem for the Brooklyn Nets, right? Despite who they might receive, right, in the trade package, it's going to pose to be an even bigger problem for the Brooklyn Nets because, again, losing Cam Thomas would be a big blow. And Michael Porter Jr., these things could pose to be a big blow for the team. And whoever they could receive for this package, again, it just won't be enough. At least in my opinion, it won't be enough for this team to be a contending team again, right? Because this team is definitely not a contending team in my opinion, right? It's just not enough. Not enough not enough star players for the team, right? It's mostly like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't even know. Like, for the team, it's not enough star players for the team. And I'm not saying they should pack up their team with star players. I'm not saying that, but they just haven't figured out what they can do to add the necessary players into their roster and to work around that, right? To figure out what they can do in terms of being able to get, a stronger team to then now be more of a contending team, right? They haven't figured that out yet. And I don't know what they can do to figure that out, but they haven't figured it out yet. So with this potential trade, this might serve to be a big blow to the Brooklyn Nets. But at the end of the day, what choice do they have? All right? What choice does this team have? Because they got to do something, anything, right? At this point, they have to do whatever they can to make a difference in their roster to now be at least a contending team in the NBA. All right? So, yeah. Hopefully, if they do have a trade for the trade deadline, hopefully it's something that could make a difference for the team, for them to now be a contending team, at least a contending team in the NBA. All right. I'm going to get into our verse of the day to finish off. Excuse me. Yes, I'm going to get into our verse of the day. And our verse of the day will come from Psalm chapter 86, verses 5. Again, our verse will be coming from Psalm chapter 86, verses 5. Verset ap soti na Psalm chapit 86, verset 5. Encore verset ap soti na Psalm 86, verset 5. I will begin reading. And it reads, You, Lord, are forgiving and good, abounding in love to all who call to you. Allow me to read that verse for you one more time. And it reads, You, Lord, are forgiving and good, abounding in love to all who call to you. Now, understand this. We are not perfect. Okay? As a sinner, I know I'm not perfect. If you are self-aware of yourself, you also know that you are not perfect. But the good thing about this is that God understands this already. God knows this. He knows this about us. He knows that we're going to continue to make mistakes. He knows that we're going to continue to fall into bad or destructive habits, right? He knows this. And so, while he knows this, also understand, based off of this verse that I just read, that God, our God, my God, he's forgiving. He's gracious. He's merciful, right? And God is willing to continue to give you grace. God is willing to continue to forgive you, right? But you have to understand that you have to come to him. Go to God, right? Go to God when you know that you have sinned. Go to God when you know that you have fallen into a bad habit. Go to God when you know that you have made a mistake, right? Because again, God is willing to receive you. His arms are wide open, ready for you, waiting for you. But you have to take that initiative to go back to him. Go back to him with a heavy heart, with a heart that wants to change, right? Because while God is willing to receive you, while he's willing to forgive you, while he's willing to help you, you have to be willing to also help yourself. You have to be willing to be honest with yourself, honest with your sin. Come face to face, understanding that you have a problem. You have an issue. You have a bad habit that you need to work on, and you have to be serious about that and honest about that. And once you are serious and honest about that, then you have to run to God with that. Run to him with that and leave it at his feet, because God can help you. God can and he will help you. God can and he will forgive you. But you have to take the initiative, okay? You have to take the initiative, right? Be honest with yourself. You can't lie to anybody. You can't lie to anybody about the fact that you are a sinner and that you sin. You can't lie to anybody. You can try and lie to yourself, but you can't lie to God. You cannot lie to God. So, you have to take that initiative. Understand your sin. Understand that you are a sinner, and run back to God. Every single time, run back to him. Run back to him with a heavy heart, with a heart that wants to change, and watch, all right? Watch what God does for you, because there's nothing, absolutely nothing that God cannot do. If he's done it before, best believe that he can do it again, all right? So that's the verse that I wanted to leave with you guys today. Again, the verse comes from Psalm chapter 86, verses 5. Okay? Psalm 86, verses 5. Verset encore li sorti dans Psalm chapitre 86, verset 5. Je voulais prendre un petit temps pour expliquer ça en créole tout. Ça me sot expliquer tout à l'heure. On te dit comme ça. Faut nous capable comprendre nous tous ces monde qui péché. OK? Comprendre ces péchés, nous ces monde qui péché en pile. Mais comprendre ça tout, bon Dieu c'est un bon Dieu qui kon pardonner péché nous. Bon Dieu kon pardonner péché nous, mais ça me besoin pour comprendre faut capable pas bailler tout menti pour connaître pas gen pièce moun euh, euh, pas gen pièce moun qui capable connaître ou c'est un monde qui péché parce que nous pas parfait. Nous pas parfait dans tout ça n'a fait. Nous pas parfait. Nous tous ces monde qui pêche, nous tous ces monde qui pêche mais faut nous capable apprendre nous ces monde qui pêche et puis faut nous capable connaître nous capable à joindre bon Dieu pour capable pardonner péché nous. OK? Faut nous capable comprendre bon Dieu capable pardonner tout péché nous mais faut capable à joindre lui avec péché nous. Tout péché nous gagne dans cœur nous. Tout ça nous qu'on fait qui pas bon. Al joindre bon Dieu avec parce que c'est lui même qui capable aider, c'est lui même qui capable changer, c'est lui même qui capable retourner ou bien ranger la vie pour bien. OK? C'est bon Dieu seul qui capable faire bail ça. Pas gain pièce l'autre monde qui capable faire ça pour mais c'est seul bon Dieu qui capable faire. Mais faut capable al joindre lui. Al courir joindre bon Dieu pour capable pardonner et puis al courir joindre lui avec un cœur qui besoin changer. Al courir al joindre bon Dieu avec un cœur qui besoin changer parce que si ou pas voulez changer, si ou pas voulez aider tête ou pas changer. Bon Dieu pas aider parce que ou pas besoin aider tête. OK? Si vous voulez aider tête, si vous voulez changer et puis bon Dieu l'a aider pour changer la vie. OK? Mais c'est ça besoin pour comprendre. Al courir al joindre bon Dieu et puis c'est bon Dieu qui capable changer. C'est bon Dieu qui capable changer la vie complètement. OK? Go run to God because it's only him who can change your life. Nobody else can change your life but God himself. But you have to first be willing to change yourself first and first be willing to understand and come to terms with you needing help, you needing to change your ways, okay? Come to terms with that first and run to God and he will forgive you and he will change you for the better. All right? I love you guys. I'm over time, 11:04, but I will see you all here again at 10 o'clock a.m. next Saturday, all right? Again, for those of you who do not know, again, my shows are on Saturdays at 10 o'clock a.m. here on YouTube, which is P Stars Radio TV, and live on my Facebook page, which is my name, Ricky Dorselli. All right? Please share with a friend, a loved one. Please share with your pets. Doesn't matter. Just share, right? I love you guys, and I will